It's March 11th, 2015, and this is your Fortean Slip news, bitches.
And our first story from the HuffingtonPost.com. A baby woolly rhino discovered in Siberia is the first ever found. I didn't even know there was a such thing as a woolly rhino.
It looks like the fucking dog from the Muppet Show. What's that, Rolf?
Oh, it kind of does. I was thinking the flying dog from the Never-Ending Story.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Only brown.
Anyway, scientists are going gaga over the recent discovery of a baby woolly rhino.
Are they really going gaga? Are they like sitting there going goo 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 gaga gaga?
That's what the story says.
Poking the fucking thing in the mouth, trying to get it to move.
We found this on the internet, so it's got to be true. The pristine specimen of the tiny extinct rhino, the only one of its type ever found, was discovered in permafrost along the bank of a stream in Siberia's Sakha Republic, the Siberian Times reported. At first we thought it was a reindeer carcass, but after it thawed and fell down, we saw a horn on its upper jaw and realized it must be a rhino. Of course, what else would it be? Alexander Banderov, the hunter who made the discovery, told the Times. The part of the carcass that stuck out of the ice was eaten by wild animals, but the rest of it was inside the permafrost and well preserved. Scientists estimate that the rhino, which has been dubbed Sasha, was 18 months old when it died some 10,000 years ago. According to the Times, the specimen includes the animal's wool, an ear, an eye, nostrils, and skull, and a mouth. We are hoping Sasha the rhino will give us a lot of answers to the questions of how they grew and developed, what conditions they lived in, and which of the modern-day animals is the closest to them. I'm guessing rhino.
And which of the modern-day Muppets it looks mostly like.
Albert Protopopov, head of the Mammoth Fauna Department at the Academy of Sciences in Sakha Republic, I think I pronounced that right, told the Times. We will concentrate on the DNA because the carcass was kept frozen, and chances are high we will get a better preserved DNA. We were hoping to report first results in a week or two. Stay tuned.
Cloned woolly rhinos? We'll keep you posted.
You know, they asked which of the animals, might most closely be related to. I'm just saying, rhino? I don't know.
You never know.
Could be wrong.
You never know.
A wild guess. Now, I don't usually use this news source, but I did verify with other sources that this story is true. So, openminds.tv, country music artist Kacey Musgraves. And now, Chris, I'm a fan of country music. I listen to it daily on the radio in my truck, and I have no idea who Kacey Musgraves is.
I listen to old country. I don't like any of the new bullshit.
It's background noise.
Give me Waylon and Willie any day of the fucking week.
And the boys.
Stick your other bullshit right up your ass.
Waylon and Willie and the boys.
Right.
Anyway,
I was a fucking highwayman, Steve. I love how fucking Johnny Cash, like, they go through that whole song. Like, everybody has a mundane fucking job, and then they get to Johnny Cash, and he flew a fucking starship.
That's right. Johnny Cash is the fucking man. That's why. Or was, I should say. There's a new conspiracy going around that Johnny Cash didn't really die, and now, in fact, he does fly a starship.
No, there isn't.
Oh, there's going to be. Kacey Musgraves believes in extraterrestrial life, and she's even had her own UFO sightings. In 2012,
she saw fucking Johnny Cash fly his starship.
In 2012, Musgraves announced on Twitter that she's had 2 UFO sightings, and this is her actual tweet. Any of y'all ever seen a UFO? I have, twice. Hashtag straight up.
Hashtag, yeah, hashtag straight up.
In 2013, singer Ryan Adams, another person I have no clue
Bryan
who
Adams,
is.
I like him. He wrote some really good music.
Ryan,
And
not Brian.
Summer 69, Steve.
It's a good song, but wrong singer. Ryan, not Brian. R, not B. Had a UFO sighting. He tweeted about this sighting, and Musgraves replied, again mentioning that she has seen 2 UFOs.
Mentioning that, yes, she saw Robin Hood and heard his famous song. Oh, Ryan. Ryan. I'm sorry.
Ryan. Brief details about these sightings were revealed in an article published by People magazine on Tuesday, March 10th. Musgraves describes, I've seen UFOs. One was in Mexico, and I was with several other people. I was on the beach after my friend's wedding, after midnight, and it was the craziest movement of light in the sky. All of us watched it for like 20 minutes. It changed shape. It flew across the sky.
The fact that we had taken mescaline a little bit earlier had nothing to do with it.
This is her actual wording. It did wackies, whatever that means, that nothing normal would do. I was completely sober, swear to God. She continues, 4 days later...
I was completely sober on cactus.
4 days later, I was in Nashville on the porch at night, and out of the corner of my eye, looked over in the sky, and hovering over the neighborhood were 2 giant balls of fire, just floating along. At first, I thought it was a helicopter, but it was being controlled, because helicopters can't be controlled, apparently. It was crazy. She also apparently saw tiny dot UFOs over Los Angeles in 2014 that formed triangle patterns. Musgrave proudly admits, I am definitely a believer. I don't think we are alone.
We're not alone.
I don't believe we're alone.
Country singers around the world unite.
And now, if I heard one of her songs, I'd probably figure out who
I
she
fly
is.
a starship.
From theage.com.au, mysterious voice led rescuers to toddler trapped in sidecar in freezing U.S. river. In a mysterious twist, 4 of the emergency workers involved in rescuing a U.S. toddler trapped upside down for 14 hours in a car in a frozen river said they recalled hearing a voice calling for help as they neared the vehicle. However, when they flipped the vehicle, which had been resting on its hood, they discovered that nobody inside was capable of speaking. We know there was some other help there getting us.
This was what they heard, Steve.
Well, actually, we were down on the car, and a distinct voice says, help me, help me. That's what they heard, said Officer Brian DeWitt. Officer Tyler Beddoes added, it wasn't just something that was just in our heads. To me, it was plain as day because I remember hearing a voice. I think it was DeWitt who said, we're trying our best to get in there. How do you explain that? I don't know, he said.
The voice also called one of the cops sugar tits.
Adding that the voice didn't sound like a child. Sugar tits, they were all male, by the way. The
one of them was really tubby.
Maybe. There's a positive boost for every one of us because I think it pushed us to go harder a little longer. You see, I don't pre-read these stories, so it's like...
Oh, God.
I don't think that any of us had intended on flipping a car over that day, Officer Beddoes said. We know there was some other help there getting us where we needed to be. The 18-month-old toddler has improved to a critical but stable condition after she was trapped in a vehicle that plunged into a Utah river, according to police. Authorities said the girl's mother, who was the driver of the vehicle and was identified as 25-year-old Lynn Jennifer Grossbeck, was killed in the accident, which took place about 10:30 p.m. local time on Friday. Ms. Grossbeck had been visiting her parents in Salem and was driving to her home in nearby Springville, a suburb of Provo. Utah. Authorities think Lily Grossbeck, who was strapped into her car seat throughout the ordeal, was able to survive temperatures below freezing because of the way the vehicle landed in the Spanish Fork River. It's miraculous that the child was able to survive, Spanish Fork. I can't talk tonight. Lieutenant Matt Johnson said. EMS stated that due to the way the car flipped into the river, the rear portion of the vehicle was far enough out of the water that the child was able to remain dry. Johnson said the water was also able to flow through the vehicle instead of sweeping it away.
That is a beautiful story.
It is actually. Oh, Friends, I want to read this part because it is actually a good, touching story. But Friends have set up a GoFundMe page to help the family pay for funeral and medical costs. In less than a day of fundraising, the page has nearly doubled its $8,000 goal with more than $15,000 in donations. So that's kind of nice. And that's the news, Chris.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.